chaos caused by the administration. People should exercise their right to protest. That's their First Amendment right. But people should also exercise that right peacefully. We do not want to play into the administration's hands. We're working with officials, we're organizing resources, but what we're seeing in Los Angeles is chaos that is provoked by the administration. When you raid Home Depot and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic.
This is Trump and his outrageous attempt to not only target our sanctuary city, but to frighten us and intimidate us.
National Guard troops flood Los Angeles streets. Tear gas fired. Protesters block freeways and set vehicles ablaze. All sparked by one order from President Trump. Here's a full timeline of the explosive three-day standoff. The LAPD, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and the California Highway Patrol have all deployed helicopters that appear to have been monitoring the ongoing protests in downtown LA on Sunday, according to data from Flight Radar 24. The tracking site showed several helicopters in flight at varying elevations above the downtown area, encircling neighborhoods in Chinatown, Little Tokyo, Compton, the Fashion District, and South Park. Demonstrators continue to clash with law enforcement in the dark as night falls on the third day of protests against the immigration raids that swept across California over the weekend. Detention center clashes and highway blockades. Tensions reached a boiling point in downtown Los Angeles on Sunday, hours after 300 National Guard troops landed in the city on President Donald Trump's orders. Protesters gathered outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. A confrontation broke out. Demonstrators shouted at Guard troops lined up behind plastic riot shields. Tear gas was fired. The crowd swelled. Protesters moved to block the 101 freeway. California Highway Patrol later cleared them out. The Guard had been deployed to protect federal buildings, including the detention center, where some immigrants were recently held. Police, some on horseback, patrolled the streets. Others fired rubber bullets and flashbangs into the crowd. Protesters also set autonomous vehicles on fire and hurled objects at law enforcement. The city was on edge. Governor Gavin Newsom sent a letter to Trump calling the troop presence a serious breach of state sovereignty. He warned, "The presence of the Guard is inflaming tensions." Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass added, "This is about another agenda. This isn't about public safety."
What we're seeing in LA is chaos caused by the administration. People should exercise their right to protest. That's their First Amendment right. But people should also exercise that right peacefully. We do not want to play into the administration's hands. We're working with officials, we're organizing resources, but what we're seeing in Los Angeles is chaos that is provoked by the administration. When you raid Home Depot and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic. And deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation, but we need to be real about this. This is about another agenda. It's not about public safety. There's clearly no plan, and there is clearly no policy. You know what? Thanks for asking me that, because we're hearing all of sorts of information. We're hearing that the raids could continue. We're hearing that the National Guard is going to be here. So it's uncertain. But that's exactly the problem, because we don't need in this city to go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning and find out about people running through Home Depot parking lots being chased by ICE officers, or people going to work, or children at school. So we don't need any of that in our city right now. Our city's trying to heal. Our city is trying to rebuild. Our city does not need to be torn apart with a provocative measure from the federal government.
Trump defended his decision, accusing Democrats of failing to control protests targeting immigration agents.
We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden.
It marked a major escalation. the first time in decades that federal troops were deployed without a governor's request. The Los Angeles Police Department said that it would not have deployed the National Guard to quell the unrest that has flooded the city, and that the troops' involvement was directed top-down from President Donald Trump's orders.
We could handle this. I believe that we would have gone through a number of steps before we'd have deployed the National Guard or requested deployment of the National Guard. We would normally go to 50% deployment to handle radio calls and do the business of policing, and everybody else would be focused on the initial problem. Beyond that, then we would request through the sheriff mutual aid, and that would bring in members of the 44 other police departments in LA County as well as the sheriff's office. And so that didn't occur in this case because it wasn't done through the sheriff or through the up through the normal chain. It was done from the top down, from the president directing that happen, and then the National Guard was federalized. So they're working for the U.S. Army, not for the California State National Guard. Do we need them? Well, looking at it tonight, this thing has gotten out of control. Before I could answer that, I'd have to know more about what their capabilities are, what their role is intended to be able to make that determination. But we have great cops in Southern California here that work together all the time. So we have tremendous capability here. To say that we would go to that right away, I'd say we wouldn't have been there yet. Looking at the violence tonight, I think we got to make a reassessment.
A day earlier, clashes erupted in the heavily Latino city of Paramount, south of Los Angeles. Protesters faced off with federal agents near a Home Depot. Tear gas, flashbang grenades, and pepper balls were fired into the crowd. Demonstrators hurled rocks, cement, and fireworks. Some blocked Border Patrol vehicles. Smoke rose from burning refuse. Protesters regrouped near a donut shop. Agents held up barbed wire to push them back. Trump ordered the deployment of 2,000 California National Guard troops, overriding Governor Newsom's objections. Newsom called the move purposefully inflammatory. He warned, the federal government wants a spectacle. Don't give them one. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth signaled the administration's hardline stance, even hinting at military deployment. Federal buildings in downtown LA, including a detention center, became flashpoints again. LAPD declared an unlawful assembly and made arrests. It all started on Friday. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested 44 people across Los Angeles. Agents carried out search warrants at multiple locations, including outside a clothing warehouse in the Fashion District. Protesters surrounded black SUVs and tactical vehicles. Sirens blared. Flashbangs exploded. One demonstrator tried to block a vehicle with their body. Mayor Karen Bass slammed the raids, calling them a tactic to sow terror. Angelica Salas of Churla reported ICE activity at 7 sites, including several Home Depot parking lots and a donut shop. Outside the federal detention center, chants of "set them free, let them stay" rang out. Protesters held signs that read "ICE out of LA." Officers with batons and shields eventually forced the crowd away. From targeted raids to a full-blown military presence, Los Angeles has seen 3 straight days of confrontation, chaos, and fear. With immigration raids continuing and public outrage mounting, tensions show no sign of easing.